What's up, nerds? My name is Brendan. I am the nerd of many faces, and to my right is very stoic FDScosplay. As I just look over and he's like, just Stonewall face. Shane, it's been a few busy weeks for the both of us.
Yes.
You with it's like with Star Wars Celebration, with me, the life of shop manager, building escape rooms and fixing them, and then people deciding to come in intoxicated and deciding to break stuff. Yeah,
yeah, fun.
No. It is not. And I was like, we apologize for the timing of this episode because we know it's a little bit late, but you know, we felt it was still a worthwhile episode to have. Shane and I will be discussing Halo, the first season that's on Paramount Plus now. All the episodes are out, episodes 1 through 9. And the only reason why we don't have the SassySwede joining us is because she has not watched Halo the season of Halo because she does not have access to a Paramount Plus account. No one's shared their passwords and login information. So, but first and foremost, Shane, it's like, other than busy, how have you been?
Sore. I've been hitting the gym constantly just trying to get back into a shape other than round. And I started off 5 days a week, and now I'm doing 30 days straight. So my nephew sent me a challenge of 30 days, 30 workouts, all within the month of June, and I'm like, yeah, let's do it. So today was day number 5, and it's basically everything full body. And yesterday my body finally was like, yeah, dude, yeah, I hate you. And then today I went after I got off of work, and it's telling me it hates me right now. And you might see my arm kind of shaking a little bit if I have my arms crossed. So I'm gonna try and keep them down out of camera, so that way I'm not shaking my desk and stuff like that. So, but other than that, I've been good.
Anybody will tell you that rest days are important, and I'm surprised that this challenge that you're doing doesn't have like a rest day in there.
No rest day. No rest day. I get a rest at the end of the month.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, it's like I gave you guys my synopsis in terms of like how I've been doing. I've been busy with my my day job, and I quantify it as a day job, even though most of it takes place at night.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it's like I mean, I built some cool stuff recently. I haven't posted it anywhere, but it's like, hey, cool, I now know how to make this. The ever living process of sanding 3D printed parts.
That's always fun.
For cosplay, dude. It's like the sand sponges that you can get. Those are a lifesaver. Love those things.
They definitely are, but also so is a mouse sander. But you gotta be careful with that because you don't want to melt your plastic.
See, yeah, it's like I don't trust power tools around plastic.
See, I use sponges for I use sponges for the smaller stuff, and then I use my mouse sander for like the larger items, like a helmet or like a large piece of armor or something like that. Just because I don't want to be sitting there just sanding away for several hours. So I'd rather get it done quickly. And I've gotten pretty good at knowing when to break in between.
When to
so
stop.
It doesn't melt. Yeah, pretty much. So, but yeah, sanding 3D prints is, Woo. Yeah. Right. Oh, yeah.
Well, it's like and we'll use that as our segue into talking about Halo. I mean, Shane, you are the Halo expert here. You have even gone through as so much as to 3D print a whole entire Spartan cosplay.
Yes.
Which
2.5 years of my life.
2.5 years in the making.
Yep.
And you wore that to the Halo premiere, and it's like even it's like, and some of the actors were impressed. Wait, it's like, you got a fan inside of that? We didn't have a fan inside of our helmets.
Yeah, it was kind of interesting. We got to talk to a couple of the two female Spartans in the show, and we're sitting there and we're talking about just the costumes and stuff like that, because it was like a group of, like, I want to say like 40 of us that went all in costume and stuff like that. And we're sitting there and we're talking with them, and they're talking about fans, and they're talking about how they have fans in theirs and we have fans in ours. I don't have fans in mine. I have a glutton for punishment in all my costumes. I don't have fans in any of my helmets, my Mando, my Kylo, my Spartan. I think the only fan that I've ever put in a costume was Vader, just because you're pretty much covered head to toe in leather and wool, and if you don't have fans inside, you're gonna die. But yeah, it was interesting. We're kind of comparing costuming notes and stuff like that, which is really cool. Their helmets are actually 3 pieces, where pretty much everybody's is like 1 or 2 per se. Some of the guys had a helmet that had like an enclosure in the back, so it's a little bit tighter around the neck, so it would pop up with magnets and stuff like that. And it's kind of neat to kind of get to share some pointers with the Spartan team, which was really neat. So, and yeah, we got to meet them and Pablo, who was Master Chief, and he was fantastic. And start following that guy on Instagram, and that guy has a workout regimen like, it's crazy. It's crazy. Like, if you guys get a chance, go check out his Instagram and watch his reels and his videos and shit like that. And his workouts are just insane. So, I mean, they gotta be, to be Master Chief, you gotta have the Master Chief body. So, but yeah, no, it was fun. It was a good time.
So question for you: is Pablo as tall as what he appears to be in the show?
Well, no, he appears to be like 7 feet tall in the show. He's about my height.
Okay.
So he's about 6'4" in height. Seems like we looked pretty much eye to eye. But he's like, in the show, he looks really bulky, like he looks really built, and he's more of like an athletic build, almost kind of not like a wrestler build, but
it's like more like track and field.
Kind of, yeah, because he's really toned. Like, he's super freaking toned. But like, he's not like, he doesn't have like, Hulk Hogan pythons, you know what I mean? He's in great shape. I mean, he fits the part perfectly. I add one thing out of the show, I appreciate his take on Master Chief, and I think he's done a fantastic job with some issues I have with some of the storyline, but we'll get into that. But no, dude, he's done a great job. I think he was the right choice for Master Chief, and he even said himself, he's like, he will play Master Chief until we don't want him to, and I still want him to. I mean, we're getting a second season, so we'll see how that goes. So this show's definitely got a lot of mixed reviews and feelings from pretty much the Halo community, so it's going to be interesting to see what your take is on it and compare notes and stuff like that. So
I guess if we're going to just jump into the show, now I'll go first, since like I'm the inexperienced one here, and you can then like add to my points or take away from my points, whatever. It's like, what have you. I will say it is visually impressive.
Okay.
It's a visually impressive show. The graphics for a streaming show, like the Covenant elites, look imposing. Same thing for the guys that are like one rung up. I forget what they are, but they become apparent in Halo 3. What are those guys?
Oh, the brutes.
Brutes, yes.
Yes.
there was a most of the storyline I was okay with. There was a couple points where it seemed a little bit disjointed, but nothing that like I couldn't overcome. It's like I couldn't overcome. The one thing that I kind of sort of just like, wait, why are they throwing? It's like, why are they throwing this in here? Is the love story. Because from what I gleaned from the bits of Halo that I have played, Master Chief is not it's like Master Chief is all about the job, and he's not. It's like, you know, he's not in it for romance. He's not here to be the shining knight. He is here to kick some butt, get the job done, and complete the mission. And that's kind of what we got with Pablo Schreiber's performance in the first 4 episodes that we got, because it's like after the 4th episode spoilers here, he took out that the inhibitor chip that was based in his spine, so that way he could actually feel things and have his memory back. I mean, granted, this is probably, it's like, you could probably create your own episode into the lore of Halo, and the background of Master Chief. It's like in terms of John Spartan, but I mean, it was all right for a first season. I kind of wish that we had like 1 or 2 more episodes, maximum 3, to kind of sort of fill in those storylines, because I kind of felt Quan was her name?
Yeah, Quan. Yep.
I kind of felt like Quan was just thrown in there, even though even though she was the first character that we're truly introduced to into this season. Now, granted, as a writer, I understand the reasoning why she's there, to be a foil for Master Chief, because Master Chief is all business and then Quan's all emotion.
Yeah.
So I understand that as a writer. I get that you need to have a compare and contrast. One of the characters though that I loved was the female Spartan that like became an adrenaline junkie that dyed her hair pink. That was one character that I really, really liked, in terms of like, okay, can Spartans go off the rails? it was because it was an interesting take on, like, you know, Spartans and everything else. But like I said, visually impressive. Liked what they did in terms of the CGI. Liked what they for a television show. I mean, I'm gonna go back and watch it again just for like things that I missed, because and granted, this is kind of an issue. It was like the pacing of it seemed to drag in spots a lot. And then we had to go through and just build up from there. It's like, you know, build up from there yet once again. Now, granted, I also understand, and this is me taking it with a grain of salt, that it is season 1. There's a lot of exposition that needs to take place, and generally, exposition is not exactly that exciting. So, was a fairly solid show. I enjoyed it, and I look forward to watching it again. So,
that's good. No, it was. Look, I understand a lot of the complaints from Halo fans, from people that have played the game since day 1 and stuff like that, because I'm one of those guys. I've played the game since day 1. You know, you're invested in this character, his origin, his storyline, and stuff like that. Now, granted, at the very beginning of this, they said this is nothing going to be along the lines of the show story of the game that we know. It's going to be loosely based on the characters, and it's a different timeline. It's a silver timeline. That's why you have Silver Team.
Mm-hmm.
And I fully respect that, and I enjoyed it. I really did. Even with the that it had, like, I could have done without the whole juvenile love interest between Master Chief and Mackie. That was that was a low point for me in the show. Like, I didn't like that. Like, it didn't. I understand it had its place, but it didn't need to have that type of place. Like, that kind of threw me off. Like, I was very unhappy with that. Like,
This
how that kind of ended up.
would you it's like would you it's like would you have been more upset or would you have been better with the romance between Master Chief and Mackie had it took place in a later season? I mean, we now know that we're getting a season 2. Like,
I don't want the romance between the two of them at all.
okay.
The romance that Master Chief has is with Cortana. That's what it's always been.
Mm-hmm.
Because she's always been that voice in his head. She's literally the only one that he trusts. So that was kind of a different kind of take this time around, where he doesn't trust Cortana at all. And Cortana to me was one of the best things in the show. She was fantastic. Jen Taylor, who's been Cortana in every single game, knocked it out of the park as Cortana in the show. Pablo Schreiber was fantastic as Master Chief. Like, he was very believable as Chief.
Mm-hmm.
I did like the fact that he took his inhibitor chip out. That was kind of neat. Like, a lot of the stuff we've never kind of seen before, because like this timeline and the story that they're telling takes place before the fall of Reach. Like, we've had Halo Reach, the game, which tells us tells us the story in the game of the fall of Reach. You've had a couple prequel books here and there, but you never really have gotten that full on story of the lead up to all of it. And I'm glad they did what they did and how they did it. I think it was smart writing, in a sense of telling the story of the Spartan characters, and having, not just Chief, but having Kai also take out her inhibitor chip,
Mm-hmm.
and watching her kind of go through, you kind of watching them go through puberty, basically, because, they're taken from a young age. And once they hit, I think it's when they hit 13 is when they, go through the process and stuff like that. So when they're a teenager, so they never really kind of go through puberty. It's kind of rushed on them, right?
Congratulations, you now are experiencing all the hormones at the same time.
Right, exactly. And I thought that was kind of interesting to see. One of the things that really kind of threw me through a loop, because it's Master Chief. He's a badass.
Mm-hmm.
He will whoop anybody's butt on any given day. But to see him go up against Riz and Venick and have them turn around and whoop his ass, I'm like, what, is he only like a badass when he's in his armor? Like, what's going on here? Like, he should be like taking these guys out, and they're just whooping his butt. And I was actually I was reading a thing. I can't remember. It wasn't Entertainment Weekly. It might have been USA Today. They'd written a part about Halo. It was pretty much all good, but they said that they felt that Vanek 134 felt more like Master Chief than Master Chief did, which I kind of agree on that to a certain extent, just because Vanek was the one that kind of was the glue of the team that kind of kept everybody together, and was the one that kind of, when Master Chief wasn't there, was kind of like acting as kind of like his right hand guy.
Mm-hmm.
But I loved Kai. I love the fact that she dyed her hair red with grease, I guess is what it was. Is what she used to dye her hair.
It's either gun grease or gun oil, one of the two.
Right.
I mean,
right.
it is a lubricant for a firearm.
Right. For me, the weak point of the show was Keyes, or not? Yeah, Commander Keyes and Miranda Keyes. Like, I did not like how that kind of unfolded. I started kind of liking Keyes, like Commander Keyes, towards the end of the series, but not before that. And then Miranda was just kind of, I don't know, she just felt very annoying to me. But you
Okay, well,
know,
I mean,
it's interesting that they did so for the story, you know, not to get too deep into lore and stuff like that. They did pull some stuff from the lore. They pulled some
yeah.
stuff from the games. They pulled some stuff from the novels and stuff like that. And you know, everybody's like, how is how's Miranda, you know, Halsey's daughter? I'm like, well, if you guys played the games and you read, like it's only mentioned once in not in the game Halo Reach, but when you get the collector's edition, you got Miranda Keyes' journal of the Spartan program, and in there's like just a really quick little thing about Miranda being her daughter,
Okay.
and then it's not pointed to again until I think it was Halo 5, and
Wow,
there's like a there's
that's a span.
yeah, so it's when the Spartans go to save Halsey, and she's got a photo of her and Keyes on her desk, and that's pretty much it. That's all you get.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, so if you're a full-on Halo fan that's gone through and you've read the books and you know gone through and you've learned, you know, you've learned the lore, yes, Miranda Keyes is actually Halsey's daughter. So so I kind of like that. I like the fact that they brought Admiral Parangotsky. She's from the books. um she's played by Shabana Azimi. Got to meet her at the premiere. Dude, she is such a sweet lady. Oh my god, she was
She
fantastic.
plays like the best grumpy old ladies, but
Oh
she
my god.
has to be so nice.
Oh my god, dude, she is a sweetheart. She was super. Just, I mean, if she could hug all of us, she probably would.
Well,
That's how sweet she is.
because what she was also, I mean, she's in the Expanse,
Hmm.
and she was also in Arcane as
Yeah,
well. Like,
yeah,
it's like, you know, if anybody, it's like she's one of the people to have a good chunk of nerd credibility in this show.
yeah, yeah. And she was fantastic. Like she really played the part really well with the dynamic between her and Halsey. It was like that in the books. Like they were really kind of, she did not like Halsey. But yeah, dude, I mean the cast was fantastic. Like you, like Quan, like I could have done without that kind of side story. It was kind of cool to see her kind of fulfill her destiny and freeing her world and stuff like that with the help of Soren,
Mm-hmm.
which is kind of cool. It was nice to see kind of John have somebody that he can rely on that was part of the program that's no longer part of the program. So that was kind of, I would have liked to see a little bit more of that storyline
Yeah.
between the two of them. But
More
I definitely,
flashbacks.
yeah. So, but no, it was good, dude. I really enjoyed it. Natasha Melchorn, who played Catherine Halsey, she was phenomenal as Halsey, man. Like she freaking killed it. She did an amazing job as Halsey. Um, her her assistant Adun, Ryan McFarlane.
Uh-huh.
Oh, God, creeped the hell out of me, dude. Like that guy was just like, nope, nope. I was glad he got what he got. Like, yeah, I was good with that. I was good with that. But yeah, no, dude, it was a fun ride. The story did drag in some parts, but like the action sequences were top notch, dude.
Oh
Like
yeah, no.
it like that was some of the like best action sequences that I've seen in TV in a very, very long time. Like it was like they had great action, and then they had scenes where they put you inside of the Spartan helmet where you got to see the whole HUD. And
Yeah,
it
it's
felt
like
like
I'm
you're
not gonna
in the
lie, it's like I
game.
did kind of giggle at the whole entire, like, it's like, okay, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, like it's like I've only seen that done like maybe once before in a game in a movie, and that was when they did Doom with
It's like when Carl
when
Urban
yep,
did
yep,
that whole entire thing.
yep, and that was pretty cool. But
If
a
it's
quick
done
sequence,
well and
so
done
yeah.
tastefully and not done for too long, it's very good.
Yeah, it was. I definitely liked how they did it in the show because they did it during sequences that made sense. It was more of a heightened sequence, so you could kind of get a point of view of the action that's coming at Master Chief, like what you would get in the game. So it kind of drew you into that a lot more. And I mean, the only other thing I would say, like for me, the special effects were 50-50.
Okay.
There was some really, really well done stuff, and there was some other stuff that was like, oh God. Like when the brute first drops down, right? And him and Chief go at it the first time, that was like amazing. And then he jumps back up into the drop ship and it takes off, and you're just kind of like, oh, that was really bad CGI. Like, oh, what happened there? Like it looked like a muddied, like just yeah, it wasn't very, very well done. So there were some parts where it was like scenes where I was like, wow, this is okay, this is nice. And there was other parts where it was just kind of like, ooh, like, oh, that's kind of rough.
Yeah,
But
the
I mean, for a TV show, I
for
mean,
TV, yeah, for a TV show it wasn't bad. It's like one of the things
yeah,
that it's like you mentioned. It's like one of the bad things about the CGI. Another thing, and we've seen this happen before. Um, it's like the It's like what's the elder? It's the Council Covenant race.
yeah.
What are they called officially?
Oh, oh crap. I just remember their names. It's Mercy and they are the not the Forerunners. The Forerunners are way down the road. Oh crap, I'm blanking right now. My head is not where it needs to be. Um,
Well, regardless, you know who it is I'm talking about. For you,
yes,
it's and they're the dudes on the floaty chairs. For those of you
yes,
playing the home game, uh,
yeah.
one of the things that I kind of it's like
I think it's the hierarchs.
the hierarchs. Well,
Yeah,
it,
if I
I
remember right, I
don't
believe it's
understand
the
why people
hierarchs.
have to give them human teeth. It was weird with the first Sonic when we got it's like when he got released. And it's like and he had human teeth, and it's like it's weird with aliens having human teeth.
Yeah. Sorry, it's the prophets.
The
The
prophets,
prophets.
okay.
Yes. Yes. Sorry, I had to look it up because I was like, I know what it is. I just can't remember what the hell it is. So yeah, no, it's the prophets.
It's okay. I still forget. It's like the Batmobile is in my backpack, which is not in the office. But granted, that's not a goof. That's just you forgetting something. Actually,
Yes.
well, no, wait. We need the Batmobile for when you forget something. Now that I remember
There.
correctly, I need a Batmobile myself.
It's all good. It's all
uh,
good.
but yeah, no. The prophets having human teeth was kind of like, eh.
Okay.
I mean, but that's because it's like here I'm thinking they're supposed to be like this otherworldly race. Uh, and granted, it was kind of I will say it was kind of weird when it's like the Covenant has these different subsections of guys. You got the grunts, you've got the which you just in the games you just hit once and they die.
Mm-hmm.
You got the shield guy. It's like they're called vultures.
The shield guys? Those are
Yeah,
jackals.
jackals. I was
Yes.
close. It was an animal of some kind. That is also a scavenger.
Yes.
The jackals. Then you have the elites, and then you have the brutes, and then you have the prophets. It's like, what planet are they from? Like, what is like, what is the genetics here? Like, the gene pool to me is confusing. I realize it's a video game. It doesn't really matter. I need to get over it. But that's enough. But I'm like, wait a second. So
No, it was neat to see, because you really got to see, kind of at the beginning, you got to see the elites. That was pretty much it.
Yeah.
You know, the first couple of times that you saw them was the elites. And then you got pretty much everything, including the kitchen sink. You know, you got the jackals, you got the grunts, you got the brutes, you know, you got pretty much everybody under the sun, which was just fantastic. And I mean, when it should have been sitting here when when it all happened, I was like a little kid in a candy store. I was freaking out on the couch when I saw everybody, and it just kind of just came together. I was like, oh, like, just yeah. I was very happy, very, very happy. And I thought they did a good job with the designs. I mean, they kept them to, you know, to the correct design. And, you know,
I mean,
I thought it was interesting that he gave the jackals their own kind of energy sword, which I thought was kind of scary as hell. You know, I thought seeing an elite with a
plasma sword was
plasma sword was scary, but a jackal that runs a lot faster and is probably more agile than
who also carries like who also carries a shield on top of their external. It's like their external shield that they just have. It's like as regular. It's like, yeah, no.
Yeah.
I think it's like I have full cover now.
Yeah. So, yeah. No, it was good, dude. It was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. I am so much looking forward to season 2.
When is season 2 slated to be released?
I believe it is next year in 2023. I know they started shooting already, I believe. So it's hopefully sometime in 2023. So will be another 9 episode season probably. Hopefully we'll get 10. And hopefully we'll be able to get to Halo at that point. I thought it was interesting that they left it kind of how they did.
Mm-hmm.
I was expecting the whole fall of Reach and, you know, them running from Reach and ending up finding Halo, and then the Covenant following them through hyperspace. But then again, that would be the opening sequence to Halo Combat Evolved.
It's slip space, not hyperspace. It's slip space.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it's going to be interesting to see what they do with season 2, like, because as you know, I mean, this time the whole thing between Chief and Cortana is way different.
Oh yeah.
And it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out, because when you think about it, he's pretty much from watching the finale. I mean, everybody should have seen the finale by now, so spoilers are out the window.
Yeah.
When in the finale, when Chief is down, the only way for Cortana to take over is for John to die. So is John really dead, or is Cortana keeping him alive through life support somehow, and her being Master Chief now? Like, how does that kind of all come to fruition, and how does that story come out? Because as you see at the end, Kai's sitting there talking to John, and John's not saying anything. That's the Master Chief that we know.
Yeah.
Like, you kind of got that at the end, but it's not Master Chief, it's Cortana. So it's kind of interesting to kind of see the dynamics of that. And so I'm really curious to see how that develops in season 2. You know, are we going to get, you know, John back, but Cortana is the one that's kind of in control, but John has, you know, the mindset. or is it just going to be straight Cortana in charge of everything, in charge of it? So it's going to be interesting.
What
Very, very interesting to say the least.
one question for you that it's like for you, Shane,
Mhm.
in regard that I have is like theoretically, how many seasons could we get of this show? Like what? It's. I mean, is it a 2 season? Is it a 3 season, 4 season show? Because eventually we're gonna catch up to where we played the games. It's like where we've played in the games.
Right. So I would say if they do it right. Now, if they do it right, okay, and they develop the story be better in season 2 to where you grasp everybody's attention. Like
Mm-hmm.
you've got a lot of the praise for the show is coming from a lot of the people that haven't really played the game. Okay. And a
Which
lot
makes sense. It's
of
like they're not the ones who know the story as much.
right. And it's when they brought the show, it's geared towards that audience and the people
Mm-hmm.
that played the game. And how do you tell a Halo story that's going to hit both audiences? Well, you change the story up. Like you
Yeah.
don't tell the same story over and over. Um, does that work in certain situations? Yeah, it does. But I mean, when you look at Halo in a video game, yeah, you've got all these books, you've got the animes and stuff like that. It's already been done, so you want to change it up to an extent to where
But
it feels new
yeah.
but the same, but
It
fresh,
feels
it feels
it's
fresh.
new, but it feels familiar.
Yeah.
Well,
And
because
so if they continue that, but they develop the story in a better sense, I would say probably at most you could probably get 5 seasons out of it.
okay, that's not a bad
Okay.
run.
You could go more if you kind of drag this out into like, you do season 2 and they're not at the rings yet.
Mm-hmm.
And then in season 3 you get to the first ring, and then that season is dedicated to that ring. And then at the end of the season you find out that there's all these other rings, right? Then you can kind of tell that story. um it worked in the game, again, the game.
Mm-hmm.
But you can tell that story in a certain way through the TV show too as well. And if they can do that, then you can probably get about a good 7 or 8 seasons out of just that story, out of the story.
Okay.
So it's going to be interesting to see if it makes past season 2. We all know that they announced season 2 before season 1 even came out. So
Well,
is it
it's. I
going to
mean,
be something that one Paramount for one, 343, are they going to want to invest in continuing on telling the storyline? Because I can tell you from experience with 343, they were very, very cautious of this coming out. Like they're terrified of how it was going to be received because they knew it wasn't anything like what we've known
mm-hmm.
for Halo. So, it's they really didn't have anything to particularly say in the development of the show. So it's going to be interesting to see if they allow 343 to kind of come in and kind of help fix some of the plot holes in the show,
At
and
least
kind of
consult in
really
its spackling.
right, and give it a little bit more of I think the biggest thing is there was some fanfare, but there wasn't enough to keep the hardcore Halo fans interested, if that makes sense.
Well, I mean, in all honesty, I'm just gonna come out and say it. It's like if the hardcore, it's like the hardcore Halo fans, they're probably just gonna go play Halo
Mm-hmm.
rather than watch a TV show about Halo.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like yes, it's like I very much used to be a very much a hardcore World of Warcraft fan, I did go see the Warcraft movie. I wish I was actually playing WoW in the middle of the movie, and it wasn't because the movie was good. It was because the movie. It's like I wish I was playing WoW. It's like right now because it would have been I would have had more fun with the story.
And it's funny because it kind of falls in how you're saying, because I never played Warcraft, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was not a big Warcraft guy. I did not like the games at all. They were a nuisance to me, just because having to deal with the game releases and stuff like that on a yearly basis, and all the expansions and stuff like that. Really, there were some games that were ruined for me when I worked in the industry.
Mm-hmm.
But I enjoyed the movie. Like, you didn't enjoy the movie, I did. So that's, kind of the same thing. You like, if we did an episode on Warcraft, you could fill me in on everything that was wrong about it and that they missed, and I'd probably look at you like a deer caught in headlights, like, man, okay, I liked it. So kind of the same thing with.
But it's like the thing is though.
Halo.
The thing though is that I'm no stranger to Halo. I have played Halo 1, Halo 2.
Right.
I've played Halo with it's like a little bit with you and your squad. Yep. And it's like it's not like I don't know about the Halo franchise.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's where I think in terms of like this discussion and that discussion, that's where the key difference lies.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, it's like I was unaware that it's like, of course, I wasn't really following that much news around this because of other things in the news that was happening at the same time.
Yeah.
Revolving around a certain court case. And
yes.
And then also like all the stuff for Obi-Wan that was coming out, because as it's like and we are both excited for the next episode, because yes. We're going to be discussing Obi-Wan, considering we're already 3 episodes in for that series. Episode 4 is next week. Episode 5 is the week after. So by the time that we'll be recording, is that we will be recording before the season finale.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like we somehow it's like for most series we get in a show right before the season ends, except for this one. This one, it's like we kind of got to backtrack.
Yeah.
But it's
oh man.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's like I am very much interested to see what's going to happen in regards to hey, it's like Halo. I like Pablo Schreiber. He's a very versatile actor.
Mm-hmm. Very to say the least.
Well, I mean, it's like he went from being porn stash in Orange Is the New Black to Master Chief, because that was my first introduction to Pablo Schreiber, was him in Orange Is Orange Is the New Black. That was my first exposure to Pablo Schreiber.
No, it wasn't.
It wasn't?
I guarantee it wasn't. Nope. Did you ever see the movie Bubble Boy?
No.
You never saw Bubble Boy? Okay.
No, I refuse to see that movie.
Oh my god, that's such a great movie.
And wasn't that Jake Gyllenhaal?
It was Jake Gyllenhaal, but Pablo was one of the Todds in the Bright and Shiny, and he was one of the main Todds in the movie. And I went back and I was sitting watching the show with my wife. I was like, she's like, he looks so familiar. I'm like, he does. She's like, I'm gonna look it up. It's driving me crazy. And she's going through and she found a couple things that she's seen him in before, and then she's like, that's where I remember seeing him at. And she brought up Bubble Boy, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to go back and I'm gonna have to watch it just to see if I can see him. Like, I was figuring he was just like a background guy on like on the bus or something like that. No, he was actually one of the main cult people for the Bright and Shinies under Todd. and he was young. He was really young, so he's been around for a while. So
Well, that's like I know that he's been around for a while, but when did Bubble Boy come out? Jiminy Christmas.
oh god, 2000, I think. Let's see. Oh
2001.
boy, 2001. So yep, I was off by a year. I was off by a year. So yeah.
So that's what it's like. That was when I was still in high school. And
I'm telling you, man.
I lived in a small enough town that it's like that Bubble Boy might have not come there.
I'm telling you, man. If you want just a good, just laugh of stupidity, I'm telling you.
All right, it's like
Go watch that film. Go watch that
I
film.
might have. It's like I might have to like rent it or something. But I mean that's about it. Halo that we got for Halo Season 1. Overall, not terribly disappointing.
Mm-mm.
It's like it was an enjoyable ride from both of our standpoints, me as a non-Halo expert and from Shane, the Halo expert. And our next episode will be discussing Obi-Wan at length. It's like hopefully maybe we can get Lee on the show to be our star. It's like, I mean, granted, it's like myself, you, and Swede are all fairly big into Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, no, it should be interesting.
Yep.
But that is about it for this episode today. Thank you for tuning in. Remember to hit the thumbs up or hit the thumbs down button, subscribe to the channel, and go ahead and tell us what you thought of Halo Season 1 on Paramount Plus. But until next time, my name is Brendan. I have been the Nerd of Many Faces. That has been Shane at FDScosplay. And we are the Knights of Nerd. And thank you for joining at this very tiny round table. We hope to see you next time. And have a good night, good day, or good afternoon, whatever you decide to have. All right, let's get going.